All right, hey guys. So, yep, I'm gonna try to finish this up, man. This fucking story takes fucking forever, bro. And I don't have the energy for it, but I'm gonna keep powering through. All right. Okay. Trying to remember, where did I leave off? Oh yeah. So I took everything down. Everything that I did. I basically disassembled everything that I did to make the place we were living at like nice. And so by the time I was done, it was like didn't function at all. And this is a great part of the story that I have to leave out all these details, and so you're not gonna know like what it became when I took everything that I did down. It was unlivable. It's like, especially for someone like her, she there's no way. I mean, I could, I don't care. And that's why I did it. It's like, whatever. But I knew she wouldn't be able to, It would drive her nuts. So anyways, so when she saw it, that's what she did. She went completely bonkers. And so she started telling everybody in town that I destroyed her RV, which was a total lie. Like, so now she's just lying constantly. And remember, this is this person who she never lied, dude. I never caught her lie or nothing. Never. So now she's lying about everything all the time. All of a sudden, just out of nowhere, she's just instantaneously overnight, she's become a liar. And I'm not kidding you, dude. Like, she's telling everybody that I destroyed her RV. And there's a bunch of, anyway, it is this story, man. So anyway, and I thought it was hilarious, dude. It was like, so yeah, so that happened. And well, anyways, there's more as well. So when I took the RV apart, like, all this stuff, like, I ended up talking to this guy. It was the guy, one of the people that was telling me that Todd Minshaw was murdered. And so he came over. Well, I had just finished taking everything down. And so when he came over, the whole place was just looked like it was trashed, right? And so then me and him talked, and then that's when he started telling me that because we were talking about how weird she's being, like she's being totally weird, and then that's when he brought up that she's probably under investigation, because that whole thing with that guy, that dead body being found. See, this person I'm talking to claims to have inside intel, like he's friends with some of the local cops. And so that's why he knows a bunch of shit about it. And he said that it's under that death is under investigation. It's not been ruled a suicide. Okay. And then he's like telling me that she's probably under investigation. And because she's been hanging out with all those people, and they're all under investigation, including Sheila, the guy's wife. Like, all these people are under investigation because of this mysterious death, right? And so him telling me this started freaking me out, dude. And he said that, because she's under investigation and I live with her and she's my girlfriend, I'm probably under investigation as well. And there could be a chance of phones being tapped or this and that. And so the more he's talking about this, the more I'm like starting to trip out, right? And anyways, it gets pretty crazy, dude. Like, because he starts talking about, because he has his own belief system, which may be different than yours and mine. But he was telling me that the reason all this is happening with her is because she's being influenced by dark entities. So he kind of believes in some of that stuff, like dark entities and woo-woo shit, and when he told me that, I remember just getting a flash of a realization where I was like, holy shit. And I had to admit to him, I said, I'm not like into all this woo-woo stuff about spirits and this and that, but I must admit, and I had to tell him this, I'm like, I have to admit that if there's anybody I've ever met in my life who could possibly be possessed by dark entities and shit, because that's what he was saying, that dark entities are working through her to attack me because I'm a light bearer, because I bear light. Like I'm more of a positive person than I am a negative person, is basically what he's saying. And because in a general way, my life moves in a positive direction, as far as I don't like go around hurting people and stealing from people and fucking people over and lying and all this shit. Because of that, like I am viewed as a threat to, some dark forces, including dark people, And because I'm perceived as a threat, these dark entities are attacking me through her. And when he said that, I had this realization. And I said, I don't believe in all this woo-woo shit, but I have to admit, if there's anyone in my life that I've ever met that could potentially be, have dark entities working through them, it would be her. It would be her. And the reason I say that is because I have to babysit her all the time. She's basically like a child. I have to hold her hand through everything during our relationship, to the point where it was complete absurdity, dude. Like she couldn't even close the refrigerator. Every day, whenever she would get into the refrigerator, she would never fully close the refrigerator, and it would be still open. Every day. Same with the sink. Every time she used the sink, she never turned it completely off. It would always be like still going. And every day I'd have to tell her, babe, you left the refrigerator open again. Babe, you left the water on again. And I mean, she's just like a zombie or something, man. And that's why I said, I mean, if there's anyone I've ever met in my life, dude, that is potentially could be controlled by dark entities, evil spirits, it would be her. Because she's just so like such an empty shell, It's like nothing there. There's nothing there. Hello, you know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, But I always rationalized it away that it was part of her trauma, and that she would recover if she was around healthier people and she wasn't around, people that are scumfucks and everything. But this is what I'm saying. Like, she chooses to hang out with these people, man. And so anyways, so I do that, and I'm talking to this guy, but then that's when I'm telling you, the guy's like telling me that death is under investigation and has been. Okay. And this guy's a somewhat credible source, I mean, I wouldn't trust him, but yeah. And then we were talking about, because actually he brought it up. He's like, do you sense when he first came over, one of the first things, he was like acting weird when he came over and looking around, and he just asked me out of the blue. The first thing he said to me when he got there was, he's like, do you ever get a sense of kind of like witchcraft or any kind of stuff like that, like here at your place? And I was like, dude, it's funny you mentioned that, because when I came in, the first thing I saw was these witchcraft brooms hanging from the ceiling. And I know that it's like she's dabbling in some kind of woo-woo fucking wacky new age or worse, you know, witchcraft or some kind of new, either whether it's new age or it's actual dark witchcraft or whatever, like it's something. And he's like, and then I asked him, could you come in and look around and maybe you can get a sense of it, you know? So anyways, that's how that went, right? This story is so long, so I'm going to just try to fast forward through it. And again, I'm telling you, I'm leaving out all this crucial detail is all being left out. Okay. So after he leaves, you know, within the next 24 hours, this is what happens. Within the next 24 hours, this is what happens. Okay. I get a phone call from this guy who I thought was a friendly. Okay. But he's like a crazy guy. He's like a Hell's Angel, fucking old school Vietnam vet Hell's Angel guy. And he calls me up, and I basically get a veiled death threat from him. And he's talking as though he knows what's going on with me and my ex, but he's not speaking directly. So he's like saying, you know, I'm just an old guy, so I'm not smart like you young people and this and that. And he's like, but you know, I know you're inclined to kind of play the big shot, and you know, and I'm just trying to warn you, you wanna like hold your ground, and you want to do this and that. And he's referring to me staying at my place. And he's saying, I know you want to stay there and like prove a point, you know, and I understand that, you know, women can be really, you know, blah, blah, right? But he's not talking direct. So he's implying that he knows what's going on with me and my ex-girlfriend, right? And then he's like, but you know, strange things happen out in the desert. People show up mysteriously dead out in the desert out here. And you need to take my advice, Bubba, and you need to get the fuck out of here. And he was saying just like that, dude. I'm not kidding you. And then he would go back to, so, you know, I know I'm not the smartest tool in the shed like you young people. And I know, and he just keeps doing the same thing. And he's like, you know, but strange things occur out here, you know, and a lot of times people's bodies show up mysteriously dead out in the desert, and you need to take my advice, Bubba, and you need to get the fuck out of there. Like he kept saying, you know, it was a veiled death threat. It was he was so obvious, and he kept repeating the same cycle over and over, like at least 3 times. He circled back around to you need to take my advice and you need to get the fuck out of it. And every time he would say it like that, and he circled around like at least 2 or 3 times about how, you know, the desert is a strange place, and you know, strange things happen out here, and people are found mysteriously dead and out in the desert out here, and you need to take my advice, Bubba, and you need to get the fuck out of here. And I'm telling you, like, I'm not over exaggerating any of this. And after about the 3rd time of continuing to all just going, and I wasn't even talking, like he was just, and I'm like, and I said, hey man, can I ask you a question? And he's like, yeah, Bubba, what? I said, is somebody threatening me? And this was his response. Oh, no, Bubba, I don't know nothing about no threat. No, I don't. It was a death threat, dude. It was a fucking full-on death threat. Okay? So, when I get off the phone with him, the first thing I do is get the gun out. And I get the gun out, I put it on the couch next to me, because I'm not going to react to a death threat, but I'm not going to not respond to a death threat. So that was my response, is I'm getting the gun out, because it doesn't get more obvious than that's a veiled death threat, you know. So I got the gun out. I responded. I didn't react. I responded appropriately to the phone call, which any of you who got that phone call would do the exact same thing if you had a gun at your place. You would do the exact same thing. You would respond the same. Unless you're a psycho, and then you might just get your gun and go around and start shooting people or something. See, I'm responding accordingly to, by all appearances, is a veiled death threat, like an obvious veiled death threat. So I get a death threat. So this bitch is trying to start a fucking war in this town. Over what? There was still, at this point and to this day, no explanation as to why all this hate directed at me. None whatsoever. But this is not a psychopath, right? This is just a normal situation, right? This is not some psychopath. My ex-girlfriend's not a psychopath, right? Wrong. This is within the first 48 hours of me returning from the job in Denver. I get a death fucking threat, okay? So I go inside. Well, actually the first thing I do is I go inside and I lock the deadbolt. Luckily, that was the first thing I did. Lock the deadbolt. Second thing I did is I got the gun out. Got it loaded and put it on the couch next to me. And I sat there thinking, like, what am I going to do? What is going on? What the fuck is going on, right? And so I'm just sitting there in silence, like, trying to figure out, like, what the fuck? What am I going to do? What the fuck is going on, right? And about maybe 30 minutes, probably at most 30 minutes goes by. And all of a sudden, somebody's trying to open the fucking door, dude. And it scared the fucking shit out of me. Like, I'm like jumped up. And somebody was trying to open the fucking door. So then I look, and it's a cop with my ex-girlfriend and some weird-looking short, fat lady who literally looks like a witch, minus the green skin and the mole on her nose, and long, stringy, gray hair, short, pudgy, super round, fat, ugly, toothless, haggish. And it's but so my ex brings a cop over. Now let me explain to you part of the idea of the cop, which was many things. There were many things about this brilliant idea of hers, which was not her own. Like, all of this stuff, none of this is coming from her. Like, she is being controlled, right? Like, this is not the same person at all, right? So there's a cop with her and some weird looking short, fat, round, roly-poly fucking witch. She looks like a witch straight out of a Disney movie or something, an old Disney cartoon movie. And so I open the door, and the cop starts to proceed to tell me in an apologetic kind of manner that this is a routine call and he has to be out here because it's a routine call because my ex-girlfriend called the cops and she told the cops that she's afraid of me and that she needs to get into the RV to get some of her stuff, and she knows I'm there and she's afraid of me. And so that's why she brought the cop. Remember in the story when I told you I asked her, are you a cop caller? See, dude, this is, anyway, whatever. And the death threat, whatever. It probably wasn't a death threat, right? Yeah, right. Right. I'm sure if you got that call, you wouldn't have thought that was a death threat. Like, this is all just ridiculous, man. So I go outside And the cop is, talking to me, and he's being fairly reasonable, right? And then and my ex-girlfriend goes in the RV, apparently to get her stuff. There's probably illegal shit in there and all kinds of fucking stuff that she's trying to get out of there because she's panicking because she's on the verge of getting busted for something. And so she projects it onto me that I am the big bad wolf, when really it's her. And she's in there she's like, there's shit in there that if I find, then she's gonna get in fucking trouble because I'm gonna fucking rat her ass out, All I need to do is find the evidence, and she knows where it is, and so she's there so anyway, she's in there doing whatever the fuck she's doing. And I'm sitting outside with the cop, and that fucking roly-poly fucking ugly witch bitch is standing there. And she looks at me, and she goes, "I'm Sheila. I'm the person that Christina's staying with." And then that's when it all clicked. And I was like, "Oh, you're Christina's friend that just lives a block up the street. She's been hanging out with you guys, and your dog is her dog's sister or something like that?" And she says, "Yep." And I says, "Oh, nice to meet you." Right? And then I said, "I heard that your husband passed away recently." And mind you, the cop is right there, like 5 feet away from. We're all standing in close proximity we're all in close proximity to each other. And I say, "I heard that your husband passed away recently," because I've been hearing all this speculation, but no concrete evidence of anything. I don't know anything. And here it is, the horse itself right in front of me. So I asked the horse, "I heard that your husband passed away recently." And this is how she responds, and I'm not exaggerating. And this is word for word. She goes, "Yep, they found him out in the desert dead." Just like that, dude. And the cop's right there. And I'm just like in shock, like the guilt is all over this bitch's face. Like you couldn't look any guiltier just by that first response right there. And I'm just doing everything just to keep a straight face because I'm in shock. I'm not kidding you. Those are her exact words, and that was her demeanor. I'm like, "I heard your husband passed away recently." She's like, "Yep, they found him out in the desert dead." I mean, unreal. Unfuck, all in front of a cop, right? And so then I'm like, "Oh, my condolences." And she says, thank you, right? And then I said, because again, I'm hearing all this speculation all over town that it was a murder. It wasn't a suicide. It was a murder. They never found a gun on the scene, blah, blah, blah. And so here, the horse is right in front of me. And already from the horse's mouth is, "Yep, they found him dead out in the desert." Right? So I'm like, I'm sorry to hear. I'm sorry about that. Thank you. Thanks. And again, I'm not exaggerating. She looks like a fucking witch, straight out of an old school Disney cartoon, minus the green skin and the big black wart on her nose. Everything else is identical. Short, roly, fat. She looks like a female version of the Penguin in Tim Burton's Batman movie, where Danny DeVito played the Penguin. She looks like him, only a female version of him. I'm not even joking, dude. And these are my girlfriend's friends. Like, it's so pathetic, dude. My friends are all reputable people. All the people that I associate with are all reputable. And then these are her friends. It's like, this is so pathetic, right? And so then I asked her, I said, "Well, did they determine the cause of death?" And the cop is right here the whole time. And this is what she said, word for word. And this was her demeanor. She says, "Nope, they never found a gun, so they don't know if it's suicide or homicide. But I don't own any guns, so I'm clear." She throws her hand up like that and turns around and walks away. Just walks right out of the yard, away from the cop and me. Does that in front of the cop. So again, I'm going to repeat it. I said, "So did they determine at first I said, "My condolences." And she said, "Thank you." And then I said, "Did they determine the cause of death?" And that's what she said. "Nope. They never found a gun, so they don't know if it's suicide or homicide. But I don't own any guns, so I'm clear. And fucking throws her hand up and just walks away. You can't get any more fucking obvious than that, dude. It just doesn't. Like, the evidence is plain as fucking day, dude. And I am so shocked that she acted like that in front of the cop. Now, mind you, even if the official, so-called official story is, or the story that is being pushed is that Todd Minshaw killed himself and he wasn't murdered, the last person to see him alive, whether he committed suicide or was murdered, was her, Sheila. Because Todd and Sheila got in a big fight. That's the story that was told. Todd and Sheila got in a big fight, and Todd stormed out with a bottle of booze and a gun in his hand and wandered off into the desert and guzzled a bunch of booze and killed himself, shot himself in the head. But then with the cop right in front of her and me asking her the question, did they determine the cause of death? Her own response in her own words from the horse's mouth itself is no. They never found a gun, so they don't know if it's suicide or homicide. But I don't own any guns, so I'm clear. Dude, you can't make this shit up. You think that I could make this stuff up? You think that I could make this up, right? Anyway, so I'm going to fast forward, okay? So all kinds of shit happened. That was just within 48 hours of getting back home from the Denver show. All of this weird shit gradually escalated from there. Things got weirder and weirder and weirder for the next week. And I can't go into all the details again because, you know, like I don't have time. This is a massive saga, dude. This story is like, it's great. This is the shit that they make movies out of, dude. I am not kidding you, bro. And so, anyways, I'll fast forward. So, I'm calling all my friends, and I'm like totally tripped the fuck out. And I'm telling them, anybody that'll listen to me, I'm telling them, because I'm freaking out. I've got a death threat. This bitch is acting like this in front of the cop. Well, anyways, so then when Sheila walks away, I don't own any guns, so I'm clear. And she walks away. As soon as she walks away, I went from like keeping my cool and keeping my game face on. As soon as she walks away, I'm fucking like talking to the cop like in a low voice. I'm like, dude, I just got a fucking death threat like 30 minutes before you guys got here. And I am freaking the fuck out. I'm like, what? I don't know what I should do. I've never been in a situation like this. Okay. And I was reluctant to tell him because, anyways, this is just so fucked up, dude. This story is so fucked up. I have to say, too, the last 2 nights I've in my dreams. She's been my ex-girlfriend has been in my dreams the last 2 nights. And this is what happens when I talk about it. Dude, I have hagstones at home sitting next to my windows because witches can enter your dreams, and hagstones keep witches from entering your dreams. I have fucking hagstones because I don't want this bitch in my dreams because she's a fucking witch, dude. She's one of these sellout, like weak-minded, weak-willed people that will just sell out. You know, this is why I can't stand sellouts. Why I keep going back to like my idea about my channel where I'm not a fucking sellout. I would rather be a fucking slave than be a fucking sellout, dude. That's all there are slaves and sellouts in this world. Slaves and sellouts. So you choose, which do you want to be? A sellout or a slave? I know what my choice is. You go ahead and choose whatever the fuck you want. I don't fucking care. I know what my choice is. Go be a fucking sellout. And that's what I'm saying. Like, she's like, there are pathetic stories of chicks who, I've seen them. And they were self-proclaimed witches, and then they like murdered their mom and chopped their mom's body up into a fucking stew and was baking it in the fucking oven as part of some witch spell, and then the cops caught her. And she was like sold her soul to the Illuminati and was going to Hollywood because the Illuminati promised her that they would make her famous. And she's just some pathetic, lost, weak soul, dude. Like, just would kill her own mom, you know, for fame and stuff. Like, just, and that's what I'm saying. This chick, my ex-girlfriend, is like, that is what her path is she's just overnight turned into a complete liar. Fucking it's just a complete embarrassment. Like, what a total piece of shit. All the people that she's hanging out with, they're all cockroaches, you know. My friends are all reputable people. The people that I associate with are reputable people. Like my boss, you know, is fucking big, fucking one of the country's biggest gem and mineral dealers in the whole fucking country, dude. Like, these are the people that I associate with, and if she associates with these fucking cockroaches, whatever. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you going back to the question of her using me, if she were smart about using me, she would get in with my associates. If she were smart about using me. So even if she was using me, she was very stupid about it, because she could have used me to get in and associated with people that I associate with, which are all like straight shooters, legit people. And some of them are multimillionaires and like really like decent fucking people. I don't associate with cockroaches, dude. So if she were smart about using me, she would have used me properly. But instead, she's like hanging out with all the cockroaches. I don't know. Well, what it probably is meth, you know, meth and fentanyl and all this stuff, all this poison that's going around everywhere. She got, yeah. So that's a whole other, anyways. And there's in the post event, there's all kinds of stuff that comes up about her, who she's involved with and what's going on. And that's all a big part of it too. But that comes much later. So anyways, so all this, right? And I'm telling the cop, I'm like, dude, like, I don't know what to do. I'm fucking freaking the fuck out. I've never been in a situation like this. This is fucking crazy. Like, that dude died and that's her fucking husband and she's acting all weird. And fucking people are saying that he was murdered, and now I'm getting this death threat and shit. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to fill out a report or something. And I said, what should I? And he goes, and the first thing that the cop said in response to me, he says, well, I'm not on that case. Somebody else is. So by saying that to me confirms. See, so in this interaction, I'm getting confirmation on all kinds of stuff. I'm getting confirmation from Sheila when Sheila says they don't know if it's suicide or homicide, but I don't own any guns, so I'm clear. Like, that just confirmed all this speculation I was hearing. That yes, he died, and they don't know if it's a homicide or not, because there was no gun on the scene when they found his body. And Sheila's trying to proclaim in front of that cop that she's free and clear because she don't own no guns. So she's free and clear. And then she walks away. Like, it's ridiculous. It's just, again, you can't make this shit up. And so then when I'm talking to the cop after she walks away, the first thing the cop says in response is he says, well, I'm not on that case. Someone else is. That just confirms that, yes, it is under investigation. So that guy, the previous night, who was telling me that it's under investigation and my girlfriend is under investigation and my girlfriend's friends are all under investigation, and because I am her fucking boyfriend, I'm probably under investigation as well. This just confirms all this. So now I'm freaking out even more. Like, here's all this confirmation. Okay. So as soon as that's done, I'm calling anybody that'll listen because I'm freaking the fuck out. Okay? And all I get is a bunch of nays. Dude, if you're ever in a situation like this, nobody will believe you. Not even your closest friends, your family. They'll be like, they're not going to believe you. They're not going to know what to believe. They're going to be wondering if you've gone crazy, etc., etc. Are you smoking crack or something? You know, nobody's going to believe you. Just like in the Jeffrey Dahmer story, when the woman kept calling the police, telling them they need to check out her neighbor because it smells like death coming from her neighbor's apartment. And she was calling him for like a year, like all the time calling him. And they never believed her. And then years later, it turns out she was right all along. I'm telling you, if something crazy like this happens to you, you know, this kind of shit, nobody's going to believe you. So, of course, my craziest friend, my friend who's like a crazy, he believed me. He was the only one that was tripping out. So when I was telling him about it, he's like, oh my God. And I'm all, what? And he goes, dude, do you own a gun? And I said, yeah. I mean, it's not mine. I got it for her. And I was teaching her how to shoot because, you know, her ex is a total psycho, bro. He's like, well, where's the gun? I said, dude, I've been sleeping with it. It's under my pillow every night. And he's like, bro. He's like, dude, if they did kill that guy, they could be trying to frame you for the murder. And that they used that gun to kill him. And your fingerprints are on it and everything. And when he told me that, I was like, oh, fuck, dude. Fuck. Like, I started really tripping out. And he was and he was telling me that I need to go to the cops. And I had to explain to him, bro, the cops in this town I live are some of the most have a reputation for being some of the most corrupt cops in the fucking country. Like that town has a long-standing reputation for police officers being super corrupt. Like the corruption of the police department in that town has gotten national news. Has gotten national news coverage. And it's a fucking tiny ass town in the middle of nowhere with a population of 1,000 people. And the corruption of the police department in that town has gotten national fucking news, dude. So when he's telling me I need to go to the cops, I'm like, bro, I ain't going to the cops. The cops here are fucking corrupt as fucking fuck, dude. Anyways, so long story short, I'm trying to shorten it up for you guys. So then I get off the phone with them, and now I'm getting even more freaked out. Like I said, everything just keeps gradually escalating more and more for this whole week. Okay, so this is like day 3 or day 4. Okay, and I'm getting like more and more freaked out, right? And I think by this time I had moved I have a Dodge. Well, I don't anymore, but I had a small camper van. And see, there's so many details. Okay, it's so many details. I can't go into all the details, and these are all crucial details, and I just don't have time for all of them. So I'm gonna have to skip a bunch of stuff. I've been skipping a lot of stuff, you guys. I really have. You know how they say it's hard to know what to leave in and what to leave out, and it really is. So, anyways, so after I got off the phone with my buddy, though, you know, at some point, whatever in the timeline, I had moved my camper van to a different location, and that's a long story. But anyways, whatever. And so, but when I get off the phone with him, I started panicking even more. Everything's escalating and escalating. So then I'm like looking online, I'm trying to find information on his death. Like, he died like 2 months ago. There's got to be information. So I'm using Google and shit. And what happened is there was no information on his death. The only thing I could find was the police department, the town's police department made a public statement. Like a couple months earlier, around the time that they found his body, the police department made a public statement, and it said there is a rumor of a dead body or bodies having been found in the desert, and we just want to let everyone know that these are only rumors. There's no need for concern. and that people need to stop spreading these rumors. That was the public statement that the police department made shortly after they found his dead body. And so I couldn't, because I was trying to, so the reason I was trying to find information is I was trying to find out what caliber of bullet killed him and what was the date of his death. And the reason is because if they did kill him and they're trying to frame me, you know, like I don't believe I was in town when he died, but I wasn't sure because I didn't know any of the dates. That's why I was trying to find information online. Because if they did kill him and they're trying to frame me, then I need to figure out if I was in town or not. But because I was in that job in Houston around the time that he died, but I don't know when it was exactly because my psycho ex-girlfriend didn't tell me nothing, you know? And the other thing I want to know is what was the caliber of bullet that they found that killed him? Because if it's the same caliber as the gun that I bought my girlfriend, well then I need then it's obvious they're trying to frame me, right? And so, but the only information I could find is that the police department's public statement shortly after Todd Mitchell's death was, there is a rumor of a dead body or bodies having been found in the desert, and we just want to let people know that these are only rumors. There's no need for concern, and that people need to stop spreading rumors. And I'm telling, mind you, this town has a long-standing reputation for having super corrupt police. And it's right near the border where they traffic drugs and all kinds of other shit. So anyway. And somebody told me there's ley lines over it too, which there are. Like when I looked, there's a ley line that goes right over it. There's all kinds of. I've seen UFOs out there. No bullshit, dude. I'm telling you. I've seen UFOs out there and in the surrounding areas. It's weird, dude. There's a lot of weird shit going on out there. So anyway, okay. So the next day, I'm so freaked out that I decide to go to the police department. So I go to the police department, okay? And it's in the morning. And so the door's locked, but it has a doorbell. So I ring the doorbell. And then I'm waiting at the door, and then I hear behind me, somebody says, "How you doing, partner?" And I turn around and look, and it's it's the same cop that came over to my place with Sheila and everything. The same fucking cop that told me I'm not on that case, someone else is. The same cop that confirmed that there is an investigation, okay? And that's what I said. I hear behind me, "How you doing, partner?" I turn around and it's him. And then so I'm like, okay, look, dude, I'm trying to get real with you here, bro. Like, this is really fucking serious shit. This is serious shit, bro. Okay, I'm trying to convince him, just like the woman who's trying to call the police department. Yeah, Jeffrey, that guy, my neighbor, he's really weird guy, and it smells like there's dead corpses piling up in his apartment. You know, he's acting really strange all the time. I think that you police officers should come over here and try to maybe look into it. For over a year, this bitch is gone. Same thing. Like, I'm in this situation and nobody wants to listen to me, you know? So I'm trying to tell this cop, I'm like, good, okay, look. And so then I explained it to him. I said, you know, if they did kill him, I'm not saying they did or didn't, but if they did, they could be trying to frame me. And I went online and I'm looking around. I'm trying to find information. I'm trying to figure out what caliber of bullet they found when they found his body and what was the date of his death, because I think I was in Texas when all this went down. And if the caliber of the bullet was a .380, I'll go get the fucking gun right now. Like, this is what I'm telling him. And the whole time he's just standing there like, whatever. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's just like... And then I told him, I said, dude, I'm freaking the fuck out, bro. Like I got that death threat and shit. Because I told you, it's the same cop. And so it's the same fucking cop, and I'm like, the fucking death threat phone call, the fucking this guy's dead, and fucking all this weird shit, dude. And he goes, well, do you know? He goes, do you know who it was that made the phone call? And I said, yeah. He said, he's asking me, do you know who was the person that put the death threat phone call to you? And I said, yeah. And he goes, who was it? And I started laughing. And I'm like, well, are you going to put me in protective custody? Because if you're not going to put me in protective custody, I'm not fucking telling you shit, dude. This is serious shit. Like, this guy's a fucking hardcore fucking Vietnam vet, fucking Hell's Angel dude. This ain't no bullshit. This isn't like some kid calling me, I'm gonna kill you, bro. You don't fucking So no, if you're not gonna put me in protective custody, I'm not telling you fucking dog shit, dude. And I'm like, are you gonna put me in protective custody? He don't even, this guy, I'm telling you, the cop don't even care. He's just like, whatever, everything is just whatever. All he can think about is fucking donuts and shit. So I'm like, don't you understand, like, what the seriousness of the situation? Don't you fucking get it? And I was able to make a breakthrough with him. Where there was a point where I broke through to him. And a look of empathy came on his face, and he kind of looked way off in the distance like he's thinking. And a sense of empathy started to come over him. And he looked at me and he said this. He goes, look, man. I apologize. I apologize. He says, look. He goes, you could put in a request of information with the department. He said, and then he goes, but they're probably not gonna tell you anything because it's under investigation. And see, 3 times confirmed. So what that guy was telling me when he was telling me, dude, your girlfriend is under investigation and so are all her friends and blah blah blah, he was right. And I didn't know for sure at the time until the cop confirmed it 3 times, and so did Sheila, that crazy fat witch-looking toothless hag. Yep, they never found a gun, so they don't know if it's suicide or homicide. But I don't own any guns, so I'm clear. See, I know all this by heart. I know verbatim, and that's what I'm saying, dude. You can't make this shit up, right? Like I'm making all this up. Yeah. And so then I'm like, well, dude, because he's telling me they're not going to tell you anything. You could put in a request of information. And then he goes, and then he says, so I'm gonna finish it for now. He says, he goes, last time I talked to you, didn't you say you had some job coming up in Texas? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, are you going to go? And I'm like, dude, I'm fucking having a nervous breakdown. I'm getting death threats. I'm getting fucking sucked into the middle of a murder investigation. Death threats. Like, I'm freaking the fuck out, dude. This is insane. I drive a forklift. I move thousands of pounds of material, dude. I'm having a nervous breakdown. I can't be driving a forklift and shit. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go or not. I want to get the fuck out of here, but I don't want to cause an accident on the job. Like, this is totally insane. Don't you understand? And he's like, well, when is the job? And I said, well, I would have to leave tomorrow. If I went to the job, I have to leave tomorrow. And he says, well, you need to go to this job because you and this girl need to stay away from each other. And I'm like, fine. I didn't do nothing to this bitch. I didn't destroy her RV. Like I said, going back to that, when she told everybody I destroyed her RV, and then then she brought the cop over after she was telling everybody on Facebook and everything that I destroyed her RV, which is hilarious. And so then the next day she brings the cop over. Well, if it was true that I destroyed her RV, the cop would have arrested me right there. Right? So that's what's so hilarious. Like this whole story is hilarious. It's fucking amazing, dude. Because, like, who would believe this retarded bitch? Like, anyway. Yeah, I would have got arrested right on the spot if I had destroyed her argument. He wouldn't have just not arrested me. Are you fucking crazy? He would have arrested me. And when he was there, the whole place was fucking trashed, dude. It was like the fucking fence I built was fucking trashed and it was all piled up in the middle of the... He's like standing in the middle of all this fucking shit everywhere. See, because it was all my shit. And it was all stuff that I did. But see, she's telling everybody I destroyed her art. He's hilarious, dude. So anyways, so he tells me I need to go to this job. Okay, so I'm like, fine. It's easy if somebody else makes the decision for me because I didn't know what to do. I wanted to get the fuck out of town, but I don't, dude, I'm freaking the fuck out, bro. I couldn't even imagine working in the state of mind like that, doing what I do. Like, someone could easily get fucking hurt or killed on the job. Like, I can't have all this shit in my head with those crazy jobs where you work 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, driving forklifts, moving thousands of pounds of shit and all this stuff. Like, no way. But see, when he said you need to go to the job, I'm like, cool. You made up my mind. Now I don't have to figure out what to decide. I'm gone, motherfucker. And so I left. And I went to that job and it was miserable. It was like so miserable. Dude, I couldn't even hardly I can't function at all. I could not fucking think, dude. All I could think about is the death threat and the murder and the murder investigation and the death threat. And my fucking ex-girlfriend turned into a total fucking psycho like overnight. Okay? And so I'm working the job, right? I don't know how I could get through a day. Somehow I would make it through one day at a time. Another day I'd make it through, and I don't know how, because like my brain was just melting on the inside. My soul was just on fire, dude. And so we were in Houston, okay? So I was in Houston for like 5 days, okay? And then after the 5 days, then we loaded everything up and we drove to Dallas. When we were almost like approximately halfway between Houston and Dallas to go to the next show is when I get the phone call that the place that me and my girlfriend lived burned down. Not just where the place that me and her lived in, but that 4-bedroom house neighboring our place. And a 2,000 plus square foot storage building neighboring. So like half the block burnt down. So the cop tells me to go to the job. I go to the job, and within a week or less, the whole fucking place that me and her lived burnt to the ground, including a 4-bedroom house, a 5,000 plus square foot storage building, the RV me and her lived in, and like half of the fucking block burned down. Okay. So if I weren't freaked out already, that fire really freaked me out. Okay. And then I'm not on Facebook, but my friend is. So a couple of my friends, I was talking to them, and they were looking at, there was a Facebook page for that town, and they were telling me what was on the Facebook page, and it was like the fire was being posted on the Facebook page. And the people in the thread, her friends, were accusing that I burnt the place down. That I burnt the place down. That I'm an arsonist and I burnt it down. Okay. Okay. Now, here's the thing. And I'm going to end this here. And I might talk about it some more depending on what kind of feedback I get from this video. Because, like I said, I'm leaving out tons and tons of crucial details. But if people want me to continue, I could. There's a good chance I could continue this story. It just depends on what kind of feedback I get. Because I don't care either way. You know, I don't care. Like I said, I want to tell the story properly. with all the crucial details. I don't want to leave any crucial details out, and tell the saga, not just like try to, the whole saga needs to be told, not just like these, because there's so much to it that's crucial, and I leave so much shit out. So, but anyway, so depending on what kind of feedback I get in this video, or if people have questions or whatever, yeah, I don't mind continuing to talk about it, but like I said, I don't care either way. And one of the reasons is because the only way to tell this story is it just needs to be told properly. This story needs justice. I'm not giving this story the justice it needs by leaving out all the crucial details, because it's all these crucial details that make it way more crazy, dude. This is a fucking totally insane story. And so, yeah, so the whole fucking place burns down. And I still have a week left on this fucking crazy job where I'm working 17 hours a day, the 7 days a week. I still have one more week left. And the whole fucking place burns to the ground. Okay, now this is what I'll leave it here though. So I looked up. You can ask AI. You can ask, okay, like Google, or I use Brave search engine. So I just asked the Brave search engine. This is what I asked the Brave search engine. I said, what would be the chances of a person receiving a death threat, and then within a week of receiving that death threat, that their place burns to the ground? That would just be a coincidence. What would be the odds that you got a call that was basically like a death threat, and then a week later your home burnt to the ground? What would be the odds of those two things not being related and it all just being one big coincidence? What would be the odds of that, mathematically speaking? And the Brave AI answered and said, the chances of those things happening in that sequence where you were to receive a veiled death threat and then a week later your home burning completely down, the chances of that being a coincidence and that those events aren't tied to each other is less than 1 in a million. Less than 1 in a million. So what I'm insinuating is that they were involved in all this stuff. All these people are involved in this murder, and they were putting death threats out on me because they perceived me as a threat, because I lived with my girlfriend who was involved in the whole thing. So the chance of me encountering evidence that could be used against them was very high. And so they saw me as a threat, and that's why they put a death threat out on me, telling me to get the fuck out of here, and burnt the place down. They burnt the place down to remove all evidence and to reinforce the death threat, to scare me, to let me know that they're serious about the death threat, and also to frame me for the fucking fire, and to get rid of evidence. Those are the 3 reasons that they burnt the place down. But anyways, back to my point. The chances of that just being a coincidence, that I got a death threat, a veiled death threat, and then a week later the whole fucking place burnt to the ground, including half of the block, like that would just be a coincidence, and that I'm just tripping and nothing really happened, and I'm just making a bigger deal out of it than it is, would be less than 1 in a million chance that what I'm saying isn't real. It's less than 1 in a million chance that all that stuff, even if it did happen in Angry Hobo, it's all just a coincidence. It was probably just an electrical fire, and it was probably not a death threat. It was probably just a big misunderstanding. There must be some misunderstanding. Angry Hobo, you're just not understanding. You're just having a misunderstanding, Angry Hobo. Let me explain to you what it was that happened. That phone call wasn't a death threat, and that fire that happened coincidentally a week after that phone call that you claim was a death threat, it was just a coincidence. That's all it was. Even though that would be less than 1 in a million chance. And so, but yeah, the police didn't do nothing. the fire department ruled the fire an electrical fire. The corrupted town police and the corrupted town fire department, of course, did nothing, and of course, the corrupted town, ruled that an electrical fire and everything. It's all just one big coincidence. Even though that being an electrical fire would have been less than 1 in a million chance that that was an electrical fire, it was just that less than 1 in a million, chance thing that happened to you, Angry Hobo. So therefore, you're just tripping. She's not a malignant narcissist. There's no murder going on. None of this is happening. You're just tripping, Angry Hobo. So move on, Dude, and the amount of circumstantial evidence is a mountain. It is fucking colossal. It is obvious what happened. So, anyways, that's the event. That's like a very tiny portion of the pre-event to prime you up for the event itself, and then that's the general event. So minus the pre-event and the post-event and all the crucial detail that I had to leave out just to explain the event. That's what it is. But anyways, yeah, like whatever. I mean, I might end up. I don't think I did a video, but I don't think it loaded. Well, so I wasn't able to tell you guys. Like, one of my buddies has connections to has Hollywood connections and shit. Apparently, and because of that, he also has access to like certain programs that are really hard to get, like AI programs that help people write scripts, like help professionals who write movie scripts. He's got access to shit like that, and he said that he's gonna help me tell this story so that I can get it to somebody to see if they want to do a movie on it. The only reason I want to do a movie is because I want to see people's reaction, because I know I feel like I already know what their reaction is going to be. Is they're gonna hate my ex-girlfriend. How my ex-girlfriend is depicted in the movie. If I do as accurate of a depiction of every character, every key character, and I do like an accurate description of each character, including myself, I guarantee you by the time the story's done, the audience is not only are they going to be shocked, but they are going to feel a sense of fucking hatred. They're going to hate the protagonist. Or wait, the antagonist. Is it the antagonist? Yeah. She's the antagonist. I'm the protagonist. They may not love me. I'm no Peach. I'm no Angel. But I'm going to tell you what. They are going to fucking hate the antagonist, my ex-girlfriend. By the time that whole story's told, they are going to be so fucking disgusted with this fucking sickening pig fucking whore that they're just going to be like, oh my god, that bitch is a fucking demon, dude. She is fucking, obviously, she is demon possessed is the only explanation, is she's just a demon fucking possessed, fucking black-hearted fucking sadistic sodomite, dude, from fucking hell. But anyway, so yeah, anyway, that's the best I got. See you, boys.